Now, by this week's work, you can see that this is not the type of work that lends itself to discussion. It does lend itself to teaching, but it does not lend itself to discussion, nor does it lend itself to comparison. There is no way of sitting around discussing one teaching as against another teaching, for the simple reason that each teaching is based, each legitimate teaching is based on an unfoldment of a teacher and has no relationship to any other teaching, even when the words used are the same. We all use the word God, we all use the word Christ, Spirit, we all use the word prayer, but we all mean something else. And so there is no use of discussions. And in the same way, as you have seen, in this work, the I is God. And therefore, all of our good unfolds and flows out from within ourselves, so that we're immediately taken out of all teachings that demonstrate something. In the same way, our prayer is an inner communion, and that removes us from anyone who indulges prayers of any nature. Our treatments are inner realizations of truth, not the conveying of truth to another or projecting of truth from one mind to another. And so it is that in many, many ways you'll find that this teaching is, this unfoldment is an individual one, and while we're not going to attempt in any wise to limit anybody's reading, nevertheless, let it be clear that in our work we are using nothing but this particular unfoldment. Those who wish some other, let them have it, but not in our work, in their own work, in their own home, in their own way. Often there come questions about wherein do you differ from Christian Science, wherein do you differ from Lillian de Waters, wherein do you differ from New Thought. It's not your function to discuss those things with anyone. It's their function to study and discover that for themselves. Otherwise, there's no reason why you shouldn't discuss the difference between this and Roman Catholicism, Baptism, Methodism, and all the rest of these teachings. We present a principle, and then it's accepted or rejected, sometimes permanently, sometimes temporarily. But we do not make comparisons. And we allow each to stand on its own feet, succeed or fail according to its merits, the same as we have to succeed or fail according to our merits. Now, you know wherein we differ, because you couldn't come to a place of healing without knowing those particular points that make the healing consciousness inevitable in you, in me, in others. Teach, share, reveal, but do not enter discussions. Also, do not permit questions from the floor or from the class. If there is a question, it can be written out, and you can answer it at that moment, or if you prefer, keep it for meditation or looking up for the next time. But when you've answered it, and there's no comeback. There is no but this and but that, because that leads to discussion. That leads then to a mental debate. And even if you win, you haven't done anything. I mean, even if you're right, you haven't done anything, because spiritual teaching is an inner impartation, not an intellectual agreement. Cannot argue, cannot discuss, because that brings it to the intellectual level. Whereas in answering a question, my object is to get within myself and let the Father answer it through me. You do the same, not by orders, this is a suggestion, because it has proven very successful in 9 years, whereas I have witnessed groups that had discussions and questions and answers back and forth, and no one's ever convinced. It's an impossibility.